that visibility is one of those keys for online growth. You need to be top of mind with your audience, but you also need to be seen as an expert if you want to get more clients online. But here's the dilemma. You're typically competing against bigger businesses with bigger budgets. And then again, there's also influencers and experts that have a much larger audience. So how on earth do you stand out from the crowd in that online space? Well, in this video, I want to give you 7 tactics that you can use to immediately boost your visibility. Hey, I'm Joyce Lehman, and I help coaches, consultants, and course creators leverage their unique brand and message to stand out online, sell more services, and make a bigger impact without getting completely overwhelmed. So if you want the show notes, then drop the word visibility in the chat. And of course, I have folks DM me as well, which you are welcome to do that as well. Because if you've been on a live before, you know I try to cram a lot of information into a short amount of time. So we will get those out after the live. All right. So when you know that visibility is key to building your authority and building your online brand presence, the very first place to start, and I see far too many people make this mistake. They go out, they promote an offer, they're promoting services, and they haven't backed up long enough to look at that first key to visibility. It is your social media profiles and your website. Because if somebody happens to hear about you, maybe you're going back, of course, we're going back to networking events these days, or a friend on Facebook actually happens to be looking at your profile. And if you have your Facebook profile, your personal profile optimized, it's a great visibility tool, but someone may stumble across or someone may hear about you and they immediately go to your social platforms or they stumble across your website. It has happened. So those are the first 2 places that you need to make sure that you get ready for opportunities. So when it comes to social media profiles, the thing is, people are looking at their phones all day long. If by chance, as I said, somebody could be a Facebook friend, maybe they're following you on Instagram. If you're over on LinkedIn, if your target client is sitting there, then you want to make sure that you're capturing attention. All right. So the first thing that I want to do is take you to an Instagram profile. So let me show you what I mean by this. When you're wanting to maximize your profiles, your online presence, as you can see, I have a bio in here and it's very specific to keywords. The same thing on your website. It should be keyword rich. It should tell somebody immediately what you do when they come across your social media profile. Don't make it hard for somebody to guess that you can potentially help them, because that's how you're going to lose them. So optimize it based on your ideal client. What are they looking for? What are their pain points? What problems are they looking to solve? And then use that in your social media bio. Now, the same thing goes back to your website. You want to make sure, I'm going to pop this in here really quick and let's see if it's going to take over here. All right, so we're going to share. My internet has been acting up today, all day. All right. So within here, let me make sure you can see this. All right. So when you're looking at a website, just a couple of quick tips. Keep in mind, most people who are going to be doing any search in the visibility realm, you need to make sure it looks good on mobile. So that's either your cell phone or it could be an iPad. Don't think that everybody's going to be on a laptop, but it's something where, as I said, whether it be your Instagram profile or your website, both of those are your first key to visibility, then make sure that it's very clear who you help, what you do, with an immediate call to action for them to be able to somehow reach out to you. And it can be as simple as, if you don't have a website, that's okay. But that's where you're going to want to make sure that your social media profiles are optimized depending on how somebody can find you. So instead of getting overwhelmed, I always tell clients, start with 1 possibly 2 tops, because if you have too many social profiles and you aren't spending time on those social media profiles, then it's not going to make any sense. And then that doesn't look good because it's hard to get visible when people come on and the last time you made a post was a month ago. It doesn't speak well to your brand. So make sure, as I said, you've got your value statement, you've selected your social media profiles. If you have a website, it can be a very simple landing page. There's ways to do it that you don't have to spend a fortune, but you make sure that brand is intact in case somebody happens to stumble across and find you. All right. Now, number 2, this is so important, is creating a cross-platform bio strategy. And this is one that I see so many people miss, but it is so important and so easy to do. All right, so going back to Instagram for a minute. Now, if you look at the way the bio is set up, there is a link and it says layman.live resources. So we're going to see if Restream plays along with this and actually takes you over. No, it's not. All right, let me go back. And I'm going to show, I gotta love it when it happens, right? All right. So when you do this, and now let's pop over here to make sure it's sharing. All right. So within Instagram, you can also use this in LinkedIn, because on your LinkedIn profile, there is now a way up in when you're editing your header, your image, and about you, there's a place that you can put a link. So one of my favorite visibility hacks is to make sure that you use Linktree. So what this does is when somebody clicks the link from a social media profile, then it takes them in, or they can access all sorts of things. So what I mean by that is you could have links to your other social media. You should have a link in here to your website if you've got one. If you have freebies, then add links to the freebies. So within this one, and Linktree is so simple to use that I've got my 90-day planning, which that was highly requested around the first of the year, and then it took off on Pinterest, so I have that. I've got my lead magnet on how to grow your list and get more clients. And then the quiz to discover your all-worthy brand archetype. The podcast is there. The website is there. The blog link is there. So think about in your cross-platform bio strategy, that's visibility piece number 2, your cross-platform bio strategy. Go to Linktree. You can set up a free account. You don't have to use a paid account to do this. It's pretty limited in, background colors, perfectly fine. But when you do that and you add this link, it can be on Facebook, it can be on Instagram, it can be on LinkedIn, it can be on TikTok, but that's where you're going to direct somebody and say, hey, you want to make sure, free resources. So as you're using a call to action in your content, you can continuously direct people back to your bio. So they may click on it by seeing it, but you can also use it in CTAs in your social media post. So it gives somebody a way not only to learn about you on that platform, but it becomes a cross-platform strategy. Linktree, it's free. It will literally take you minutes to set up. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Okay, now, visibility tip number 3. This is a big one. It's amazing how many people don't do it, is engage with your followers. Algorithms are so important. And if you want to play with the algorithm, then when you go out and you look at the content that you're posting, even if it's on your personal Facebook page, or if you've got a small Instagram following, that when you start engaging with your followers, even if they're not commenting on your content first, it is a great way that you're going to get visible, because people are going to start to see you in the social media. The algorithm is going to go, hey, we kind of like this. This is a great organic social media strategy, but it's also one of your best visibility strategies. So go through and look, if you have a Facebook business page, who's liked your page, who's following you. Go look in your Facebook friends. Maybe you've got a Facebook friend that you haven't looked at their profile. You don't know what's going on in their business. It's not the fact that you're attempting to sell these people. That's not what I mean with a visibility strategy. This is helping the algorithm to see you. So that's why if you go engage on your followers' content, whatever platforms you're on, whatever platforms you're starting, whatever platforms you're starting to see some movement, then that is going to help increase your engagement, but it's also going to help you to be more visible. All right. The other piece, so along with your individual followers, engaging in Facebook groups and on forums is a great way to get additional visibility. So we always think about, there's a big difference between content and visibility. Content is the information that you're putting out all day long. Visibility is when you're engaging in other people's groups, on other people's pages, on other people's profiles, but you're having conversations. So that's why Facebook groups are a great way to do that. So a couple of tips: go do a search on Facebook for keywords in your niche. So where would your ideal clients be spending time? What tools or resources would they be using? Those are great Facebook groups. As I said, this isn't a matter of going into a Facebook group. If you're there, I'm sure that you've probably seen it, where somebody is immediately trying to sell you something. They put out a post and all they're doing is literally using it to sell. That's not what you're doing. Simply increasing your visibility. This is one of the things that my incubator students love, because a lot of them don't like sales. So it's simply go out and make connections, go out and answer questions. That's why Quora and Reddit are other places that you can go engage in online forums in conversations specific to your niche, specific to your expertise. This isn't a matter of going out and commenting all day long everywhere. That's a waste of time. Get very targeted with your efforts when you want to increase your visibility, and going into groups and forums can help you do that. All right. And typically I don't have 7 steps. I have 3 or 5, so I've got notes. All right. So Windows security is popping in. Now, the other thing too is getting interviewed on other people's podcasts, as well as doing guest blogs, because you're borrowing other people's audiences. It's so easy to do. And if you have an expertise in a certain area, there is a great Facebook group called Find a Guest, Be a Guest. You don't have to be a podcaster, but you can go in and you can start searching posts, because people are requesting, looking for podcast guests all the time. So that is a great way that you can increase your visibility, because you're getting into other people's audiences. They're going to send out an email. They're going to send out the announcement. They're going to send out the promotion. They're going to be reading your introduction. When they have that, that influence over their group or over their listeners or over their subscribers, then that's what helps to boost your influence, but it also gets you more visible when you're going out to more people that are not currently on your list and looking at your social media profiles. Hopefully this makes sense, but as you can see, making connections and getting out is so important. All right. The next thing, when it comes to not just podcasts and blogs, but it's making connections with power partners. I have called them referral partners before. I have called them island alliances. That's what it's like in my book. But when you think about other individuals that sometimes the word that I've used in the past, it's cooperation. So sometimes you look at somebody and you go, oh, that's competition. Maybe, then again, maybe not. If you're calling on a similar target audience, if you can be resource partners for each other, if you can be collaborators with each other, maybe you coach on 2 very specific things. Yeah, you do kind of compete, but yet if it's cooperation, that maybe they don't provide this service for their clients and you can fill in that support, then that becomes that great collaboration. As I said, some people call it power partners. Some people call it referral partners. In fact, I just did a live on keys to creating powerful partnerships. But visibility, it goes back to when somebody else is talking about you, somebody else is making introductions on your behalf, somebody else is promoting you, whether it be on social media or to their subscribers. This is another way to get you visible. Remember, big difference between content and visibility. Content is the stuff that you are pushing out. Visible is when you get out to other people's markets. Now, when you're looking at collaborating, you want to do your research. I said that in the other video that turned into blog. But you want to reach out, you want to do research to make sure that you could have a good collaboration. You want to give them a reason why they're going to say yes. So don't just reach out to somebody if you happen to see them. Do your homework first to make sure that that might be somebody good for you to collaborate with. They can always say no, but great things happen when they say yes. And then finally is your visibility strategy. And when we're talking about, my laptop is going crazy. We're just going to shut that out. All right. So when we're talking about a visibility strategy, then here's what I want you to consider. So typically 2 platforms and 2 methods. So when you look at social media platforms, if you're already on, say, for example, because this is going out to multiple platforms, say you're on Facebook. If you're already posting on Facebook consistently, then your visibility strategy, maybe you're going to consider to get more people to see you on Facebook is using stories and reels. Remember, Instagram and Facebook, they're owned, same company, just 2 separate platforms. But when it comes to your visibility strategy, it's like thinking about where are my ideal clients spending time? Now, this is one that sometimes you got to have tough love. If your target market is all over LinkedIn and you are not on LinkedIn, then you are missing opportunities. There are some people, depending on their target market, TikTok is a hot thing. When you look at the stats of how fast TikTok has grown compared to other video or other platforms like Instagram Reels. Actually, LinkedIn's using short form video content. YouTube's doing YouTube Shorts. But when you look at other platforms, if your ideal client's sitting there, and I have seen a lot of coaches, a lot of experts, a lot of consultants in niches, they're doing incredibly well with TikTok. I'm not telling you to do it. I'm telling you to find out if your target audience is there, and if, say, Reels or short form content becomes one of your methods, then that's where you can actually maybe, like for me, Instagram, I record Reels on Instagram. I download a reel before I publish it, so it doesn't have any Instagram branding, and then I can load it into TikTok. If it's under 15 seconds, it can go into YouTube. I can also upload it to Pinterest. So when you're thinking about a visibility strategy, as I said, pick 2 platforms and pick 2 methods. So if your platform is Instagram and your methods, you're saying, all right, all I'm doing is on Instagram, I've only been posting static content, then consider adding stories or reels. That's going to boost your visibility because far more people than your target audience, I shouldn't say target audience, your followers are going to see that. But if you're only posting static content, then only your followers are going to see that. Does that make sense? So say, for example, maybe you want to be out on Instagram and then you're going to pick Pinterest, which is a phenomenal platform that most people don't. I'm surprised how many business folks aren't using it to their advantage. You have to use slightly different content, slightly different calls to action, can use similar visuals to go with it. But Pinterest is another way to get you visible, because what Pinterest does is when you put a link to a blog, then it takes somebody off of Pinterest and it leads them over to your blog. So it's not necessarily your followers that are finding you on Pinterest. Anybody can find you, but that's going to increase your visibility. So as I said, with your visibility strategy, you pick 2 platforms and you pick 2 methods. Could be, for example, maybe you want to get out in the world. Then networking, it's an offline visibility strategy, but you start going to networking events because you might be able to meet local folks that you could collaborate with. This all goes back to what's your business, what is your target audience, and how are you wanting to do your marketing and sales, because visibility ties into those things. So pick 2, and then your methods. Networking could be one. Maybe you do guest blog posts. So you go out to find a guest, be a guest. There's other online online podcast platforms that you can get on, and you can pitch yourself as a guest. There are steps that you need to take if you're going to do that, because if somebody reaches out, They're going to be looking at your profiles on social media. They're going to be looking at your website. They're going to want to see a bio. They're going to want to know what your topics are and what your deliverables are. So you're going to have to prep that a little bit more. But as I said, with your visibility strategy, think about 2 platforms, 2 methods. Then think about what is it that you're wanting to achieve? Because if you're going thinking, well, I don't know if I need to be on this platform or that platform, then what you're looking to achieve is going to help you decide where you need to be spending time and the effort that you need to be putting into this. All right. So create your content calendar. So that's going to be a part of it. If you're wanting to boost your visibility, you're wanting to get out there, then figure out how many times am I going to be out? I'm not saying if you're going to do Instagram Reels, you have to do 5 Reels a day. I try to do 3 to 4 Reels a week. Every time I do a Reel, I know that my followers increase on Instagram. I see that happening, but I get very specific with my content. And before, I would resist doing Reels. I didn't like short form video content. I had this big block. I can go live all day long. I love facilitating in groups, love doing keynotes on stages. But for some reason, picking up my phone and shooting an Instagram Reel was outside my comfort zone. But then I realized how it directly impacted my followers and growing my business. So as I said, with your visibility strategy, you want to pick your platforms and pick your methods. If you're not sure, then recognize what is it you're wanting to achieve in your business, and then put your content calendar together, your visibility calendar together, and then get very specific as far as what you're posting. I'm having my computer shut down before I couldn't even find the internet today. So I had to go in and get drivers set back up, and now it's going crazy. All right. So with that, I want to do a short recap. All right. So visibility strategy number 1, position your brand for opportunities. This is so big. The mistake is too many people go out, they start promoting offers, promoting their services, trying to build their brand, and they don't have their social media profile set up. They don't have a basic website set up. They don't recognize that your best opportunities can happen in the least likely places. Somebody might stumble across you. And if you aren't positioned for opportunities, you can miss those opportunities. So make sure that you spend time on a great social media bio with your value statement. So huge. Current photo. I can't tell you how often I stress a current photo. If you can use a customized background image, do that. Far too often on LinkedIn, I see the blue background. Stop that. You want to customize this so you can optimize your online presence for opportunities. Okay? All right. Visibility strategy number 2, create a cross-platform bio. That is going back to using Linktree, which Linktree, it's a free platform. You can set it up literally in minutes. It's going to take longer to determine what links you want to be in there. The great thing is you can choose which ones you turn off and on, but then you're going to add that link into your Facebook bio. You're going to put it in Instagram. You're going to put it on LinkedIn. You're going to put it in Pinterest. Typically, I will tell you Pinterest wants to drive back to your website, but if you can also get it in there, in fact, I've got mine in my bio, then put it in there, because this way, no matter what social media platform somebody's finding you on or your website, then now they're seeing your free offers, they're seeing your paid offers, they're seeing your other social platforms. You have a way to drive them, which increases visibility for those other platforms that they don't happen to be on currently. Okay. All right. Number 3, engage with your followers. This is so big. Even if you have a small audience, go out and find out who those people are. Go look at their social media profiles. Go comment on their posts. Go comment on their stories. Go comment on their reels, whatever platform they happen to be on, because what's going to happen, first off, the algorithm is going to love it. But secondly, they're going to start to notice you. They may have followed you a long time ago, and you're one of however many thousands of people they're following. But when you start to engage on their content, then they go, oh, I need to go check out and see what they've got going on. This increases your visibility, right? Number 4, interact in groups and forums. This is a great way. As I said, Facebook has groups. Go out and do a search in Facebook, keyword search, find groups related to your niche, your target audience. But you also want to look at groups of resources that your target audience might be using. So if you're on Facebook, that's a great way to do. LinkedIn used to have groups that was very popular. I don't spend a ton of time in LinkedIn and groups. I'm very targeted with the work that I do. So I would stick to Facebook. I would also go out. Quora is a great platform to get on. You can post questions. You can also answer questions as an expert. That's going to increase visibility, because if people haven't seen you and you start chiming in and adding value first, then that is a phenomenal way to get people to start noticing you. Goes back to it, increases your visibility. All right, so get interviewed on other people's podcasts or even write guest blogs. So if guest blogging or even blogging isn't your thing, then pursue the podcast route. As I said, there's Find a Guest to Be a Guest on Facebook. It's a great group. There's also other online platforms that you can join for free if you want to be a guest. The tips with that: make sure that you've got a great bio done. You've got your topics that you would speak on and the deliverables that go with it. Don't wait for somebody to reach out to you and you're like, I don't know what I'm going to say. When I used to pitch keynotes to associations, corporate conferences, trainings all the time, I had to have a great media kit ready to go. So short bio, what your topics of expertise, and I would stick to one or two tops. And then also, what are the deliverables that somebody gets if they happen to have you on? They're also going to want to know, if I'm promoting this on my networks, how are you going to be promoting the podcast? So it's one of those things you can't go with your hands out and expect that somebody else is going to do all the work without adding value back. Even if you have a small audience, it's okay as long as you promote it. And if you add a ton of value, they are going to love you. So as I said, podcasts are a great way to do it. If you want to write a guest blog, but that means you got to be writing all the time. You're going to be driving people back to your website. If that scares you, then stay over on the podcast side. Now, another visibility strategy, I think we're up to 6 now, is connect with influencers, collaborators, power partners, referral partners. There's a lot of words that people can use, but these are folks that are literally calling on a similar target audience. They have influence over your decision maker. You've got to look at what their following is. So maybe they don't have a big following on social, but they've got a great email list. I used to build referral tribes with business folks, and it had nothing to do with social media and it had nothing to do with lists. These were individuals that we met once a month, and we would literally feed people business. And we fed millions of dollars in business to each other. But we also had to look at, we were working with small to mid-sized companies, but those type of collaborations, it was like I had my own sales team that was marketing for me. As I said, I did a video on this a few weeks ago talking about how to connect with your ideal referral partners and create powerful relationships. So go check that out. All right. And then finally, mapping out your visibility strategy. So gone over it a couple of times, but you want to make sure that you're picking 2 different platforms. So maybe it is your website and maybe it's a social media channel, or maybe it's Instagram and it's Pinterest. So figure out what your platforms are and then figure out your methods. Your 2 methods, maybe it's podcasting and you're going to be starting to do reels. You can post static content all day long, but if you want to get visible to people that are not currently following you, then that's where going live doesn't have to be this long. It can literally be a 15-second reel that you shoot on your phone that you can get out and get visible to a much bigger audience. The big thing is you want to be consistent. If you're not consistent, then it's not going to happen and you're not going to get the results that you want. So it's part of making visibility a priority, using some visibility tactics every single day. You don't have to use all 7 at once. That's going to be overwhelming. So think about one tactic. If nothing else, go get your profiles cleaned up and start from there. So make visibility a priority. I know you can do this. And I actually have my Visibility Boost Masterclass coming up. So I've had a lot of people, I haven't even posted it publicly yet, but this is where we're going to take about a 90-minute deep dive into visibility strategies. There's an big workbook, about 15-page workbook that goes with that. So if you're interested in joining us, then go ahead and post Visibility Boost Masterclass in the comments, and I will make sure and get you those details. So with that, thanks for joining. I know that we have people that pop in and out on live, and I know we have people that join replay, and I appreciate you taking time, and I can't wait to hear how these visibility strategies